Hello, motherfuckers. Welcome to another episode of the Ross Gadsden Boys. Today we got Colonel Q, Mikey, Abby's here somewhere in the background, Mr. Galaxy Boog, myself, and we've got some guests from the Vanguard. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves? I don't know off the top of my head what you want to go by. We'll start.
Just sound
I'm
off.
actually, I'm
Just
actually
now.
the I'm actually the chair of the Vanguard. I go by Mando.
I'm Bex.
I'm Cruz.
And the other fella is currently muted himself.
Yeah, that's Dan.
Okay. So, we've got these three on here for the episode. Talk yourselves up. Explain the whole situation, why you're here. What is the Vanguard, your purpose, your association with the Boog?
That's a loaded question, buddy. Big plans, big ideals, but the Vanguard is something that's an evolution of what the Boog started as. The Vanguard's final hopes is that we can organize in a way that cannot be prevented to create competition to everything the federal government offers everybody, in the hopes that the citizens will rally behind us and make the purpose of the federal government obsolete.
So the militant farmer concept on a grand scale.
It's more of the ANCAPs that won't take no shit.
Sounds like boogagorism to me.
Sounds like what?
Boogagorism.
Boogagorism.
Explain that, Mike, to us lay folk.
Well, it's basically like anti-state counter-economics.
The long
come
story
again?
short.
Basically, instead of using
Come on, Mark. The words the shortest man in the room is saying is going over your head.
Absolutely. I'm just a dumb plumber.
Like, instead of using the white market that the state props up and all the stuff that they've got out there, we create our own markets and we create our own things, and people will like create co-ops and stuff like that and different things to supply the things that people need without the aid of the state.
That is competition.
That is part of it. We also know how to actually legally organize ourselves under the current system in order to do this.
Oh yeah, our Gorists don't give a shit about that. They're like, fuck that law. Catch me.
Well, you have to play by their rules. You have to play their game to get anywhere, right? Like, we know that. If you don't play the game at all, then at that point you might as well just get ready for insurrection.
Well, I mean, people aren't waving their asses out in the fucking wind, but they still don't give a goddamn about the laws.
I'll put it this way. The idea that the country needs some form of revolution is obvious, yes? But what if there was a way to go about this to where the only conflict will never affect your common citizen? The voluntary
peaceful revolution, in other words.
Yes, peaceful until it becomes necessary to fight in force. At that point, the government's violations would obviously be in violation of the NAP. And
well, that's already happened.
And we would have the support of the people already. Like I said, there's a lot to it, and it's going to take a while to try to do what we want to do. It's going to take a process, but every one of us that knows the full scale of the plan is pretty dedicated to, hey, let's try to do it this way first.
Well, I think the
Give us a rough
basic,
outline.
yeah, and the basic core concept is A, it's voluntary. You're taking part in a voluntary society. B, we're looking. I know for me anyway, I look at the Constitution and say these are the rules I want to follow, and the rest of the fucking laws, well, if they're unjust, break that motherfucker.
Well, yeah.
Free men and all that.
I know we love that phrase. I say it differently. Free men do not ask permission from tyrants.
Ah, agreed.
From anybody else, we ask consent.
Consent's not the same as permission, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the entire point.
Well, it sounds like
You
consideration.
ask consent from your fellow man, and you do not ask permission from the people trying to tell you what the hell to do.
I mean, and technically, the government isn't people. The government is an entity. It has no fucking rights, and we shouldn't have to ask its consent or its permission.
Thank you.
I kind of think it's a falsehood to call the government an entity, because then they try to clarify themselves in court by that standard. The government is nothing but an idea. Until it serves the people, that idea should not matter. A government that matters is going to serve its people. If it needs to call itself an entity to defend itself, it's doing something wrong.
No, our mistake was giving entities rights. That was bullshit.
Oh, when we
No,
made corporations.
Mike, I agree with you on that point. Absolutely.
I think this sounds wonderful. I just don't have the faith in the system to play right. I don't think that I worry about people who do things like y'all, because they're not going to let you in. They're going to try and come in and fucking stop you one way or another. It's a huge threat to their existence.
Yeah. We know
Everything
that.
we do is a threat to their existence, though.
We've
Well, I
accepted.
know. Our very existence as people is a threat to their fucking existence.
I'll say this much. Our founder stepped away, and I kind of had to take his lead. Galaxy has been there with me the entire way. We have talked so much about all of this. We know what's at stake, and we understand what the risks are.
I'm not saying don't do it, mind you. I just say that it makes me scared for people who do that shit. Because it's good, and they can't abide by that.
It makes us scared too, because the government doesn't play nice whenever they feel like their monopoly is threatened.
Yeah. We got a guy coming on our show tomorrow there have been attempts on his fucking life at this point. And they've thrown him in jail without fucking trials and kept him there and all sorts of dicked up shit, and the media won't even cover it.
Oh, dang.
Goes all the way up to fucking McConnell.
Well, of course they don't want to cover it. They don't want to cover anything that doesn't follow their fucking narrative. Ever.
Oh, dang. I wonder if I know this one.
Being from where I'm from, I have to say something. Right after I tell Andy Bashir to his face to suck my freedom dick, I'm telling McConnell the exact same thing.
Good. That turtle doesn't even deserve to be close to your freedom dick, to be honest, though.
Oh, I didn't say I was going to let him do it. Ew.
He likes sucking dick. Look at him go after Trump. He might actually jump on that shit.
Oh.
And I mean, some of those Kentucky politicians have been hiding their extracurricular activities, like Mr. Julian out there.
You're not wrong.
Might fucking like it.
What kind of extracurriculars are we talking about? I want the dirt. Tell me more.
Well,
Tell me more.
He was pouring on this full. Well, not only is he gay, but he's also been targeted by Me Too because he's apparently assaulted people.
Well, wait a
He had
minute.
to
Me
stop-
Too.
He actually, they would not allow him to run again. His party basically was like, "You're done, dude."
Uh,
Oh.
Damn it.
But they
help
didn't
help
do
me
anything
out
to
here
him.
because
They
he's
just said, "You're in
gay.
retirement now."
He's gay, but the Me Too movement was giving him shit. I'm lost. I'm confused now, Mike.
Dude, well, gay people have joined the Me Too movement.
And he's obviously confused too.
Well, he's been confused. That dude is that guy is if you look at his history, that guy is a career fall man. Every time he takes the fall, he ends up with more money than he started with and a slap on the wrist.
Dang.
Professional fucking scapegoat. Love those guys.
Yeah,
So-
well,
So he's basically the amateur Anthony Weiner.
is
I mean,
anybody
let's be
here
honest,
old
But
enough
yeah.
to remember the black mayor? Was he a black mayor from New York? No, he was a judge. That was caught smoking crack and banging hookers.
But I thought
Honestly,
that was just
like-
recently.
I'm from the wrong state to remember that.
Yeah. He's from New York.
I thought that was just recently. Wasn't there another one?
Rules for
maybe
thee,
this
but not
guy's
for
old.
me.
This guy's old. Oh, geez. It was a big thing when I was younger, and I'm 42, so that's 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, I'm
You're
not
not
old
that-
enough to remember that one. I
Yeah,
don't
you're
think.
not that much older than me, and I remember one, but I thought that was recently, unless it just hit headlines again. But
Holy sh!
Marion Barry.
Please stop. Would y'all stop it?
Oh, Washington
Search
Mayor
the
Marion
case.
Barry. It was the Washington Mayor Marion Barry. Got caught smoking crack and banging hookers.
Washington State.
I guess so. In 2014.
That's why okay. That's why I was okay. Yeah, it was my state.
Oh, I thought it was New York. Yeah, Washington.
No,
Washington.
that's
Oh,
true.
Washington D.C. or Washington State. He was a judge. Former Washington Mayor Marion Barry. Blah blah blah. Of Washington D.C. was jailed for smoking crack cocaine.
I was gonna say if he was the mayor of Washington, it was probably DC.
How much time
Unless
did,
there's,
does it say?
Oh, who knows? Probably not. Politicians never go to jail.
Politicians
My
love their
point.
fucking hookers and sex parties, though.
I mean, it's legal for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
The
Well, no,
amount
they're
of
above the law,
politicians I
right?
have met at sex parties just fucking used to amaze me.
The
But
poors don't get to have nice guns, bang hookers, and smoke crack. Like, that's not, that's not
Bad
okay.
Bad horse.
That's unconstitutional. Don't you know that, Mike? For
Where
fuck's
in the
sake.
Constitution does it say that?
I know. That's what I said. But,
I would love to see it. Please point that out.
yeah, for fuck's sake.
First Amendment. Banging whores is my religion. Fuck all you.
No, First Amendment says you can just say that. We have something that says that we can actually do it.
I totally support banging hookers. Please support your gray and black markets.
Well, they say run guns, sell drugs, bang sluts, fuck the law.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Good enough for
Close
me.
something like that.
That's
Close enough.
that should be the First Amendment.
Now, remember, if we get rid of Section 230,
What's Section 230?
oh, you
It's-
haven't heard? Yeah, let him explain it.
Oh, do you want me to? Are you sure?
Yeah, you
There's
go.
so
'cause
many
I-
numbers.
We
All
just
these
talked about
numbers
it
out
on
there.
Monday, actually. Basically, Section 230 is they call it the backbone of the internet, but I don't really believe that it's quite that anymore. Like, the idea of it was originally to protect free speech, but now all it does is keeps the platforms from being held responsible for the things that are posted on their shit. They don't really stick to it the way they used to anymore. And all of the platform heads are against it 100%, except for Jack Dorsey, who wants to revamp it.
Gotcha.
And President Trump thinks that removing 230 will stop censorship. But actually what it'll do is it'll probably kill our large platforms because there's no way they're going to be able to maintain it. And it's, in my personal opinion, I think it'll end up with only blue checks being able to speak.
On the major platforms, anyway.
Shouldn't we be sniping
yeah.
Facebook and Twitter as it is?
It's
Because fuck Facebook.
The
I
other
mean,
problem
we need
is
to-
that the larger companies can afford the lawsuits and shit, but the smaller companies can't. And they will also be held responsible for the things that are posted on their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Facebook and Twitter and all them should just, you know, enjoy a little bit of magnetic dust in their servers.
Yeah, right.
Solves many fucking problems at once.
I have a different viewpoint on this.
Let's hear it.
Eliminating 230 is the wrong path. It needs to go the other direction.
We need to enforce it as it's written.
No. Let's go a
No,
little
not
bit
as
further.
it's written.
Let's go a little bit further. The media companies will not be accountable for what is shared on their platforms, but they will no longer be allowed to censor it either.
I'm with that.
Yeah, I mean that. From what I understand, that's how it's written. If
well-
they are presenting themselves as a platform, they cannot censor what their contributors are saying, but they will also not be held accountable for it.
Yes,
If
but
they are censoring
how-
what their contributors are saying, they are not a platform and thus legally are accountable as a journalism platform. We're
The other
not
thing
holding
that-
them to that task.
and see, this is where the Republicans are getting this crap wrong right now.
Yeah.
Digital media is the new street corner.
Mhm.
Yes.
If you restrict it, if you restrict it at all, then you're restricting free speech. We have to get to the point where Congress and the Supreme Court recognize that digital media is the new street corner of free speech. It has to get that far first. Once it's recognized as free speech, they cannot censor you for content.
Has everyone here been banned off Facebook?
Yeah.
5 times.
4 times.
Only 7 times.
I can't even get back on to get banned again. Like, I used a
I'm
completely
perma-banned,
different
yeah.
device and internet
Okay.
connection and
Okay,
all
Mike.
sorts of shit.
Mike,
I had to use a
I
different
got an
VPN
hour.
to kind of get on.
Yeah, I tried
Mike,
the
I
email
beat you
thing
with
too.
that.
It ain't
I
happening.
never
Tried
made a
to
Twitter
follow.
account, and I am banned from Twitter. Never made a Twitter account.
That's
I
what
can't
happened
even
to
access the
Paxton.
main page.
Like, what? Paxton,
Hades.
I lost my Facebook 4 times, then I lost my Instagram. Haven't lost
Yep.
my Twitter, but I had to use another VPN to finally create another Facebook. But I had to do that for other purposes. I needed a Facebook account, but I have to be good on this Facebook account in order to use it for what I need it for.
So Hades, the thing that's not
I don't
commonly
know what's
talked
going-
about, the thing that's not commonly talked about, and this is probably why you're banned off Twitter without ever having one beforehand, is because if you use a device that uses Google in any sort of way,
Yep.
all of these apps, all of these different platforms are interconnected through the application of cookies, which all route through Google.
Yeah.
Oh, of
that's why
course.
I'm always telling you guys to, like, root your fucking phone and all sorts of shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't
They've
even have a computer with which to do that, so I'll let you handle that, Mike.
So the original point being that, like, everyone here has been banned off Facebook. So right there, it's censorship. And what Mondo was just talking about was like taking a step further and making it so that these companies can't do that. Now, the other part of that I see as a problem is we're allowing the government to control it if they're going to rewrite it and enforce it. So how do we get around that, since our government doesn't work? Or when they do work, they usually work for their own ends.
We rebuild the internet through a series of nodes and mesh interactions and stuff like that.
That's a big fucking task, Mike.
Actually,
Well, it's the
I
only way. They're never gonna let go of it.
Actually, I have a document on that I was starting to read and trying to comprehend. I will admit, I'm not an IT person, So a lot of it was it was one of those times that like I read it and then have to go look up a whole bunch of words and then try and comprehend those and then go back. And I can get that to someone and then maybe you all can decipher it.
I fully intend to put together like a localized mesh network here whenever we have the time and money to do so.
But
I mean, it only goes so far because like I don't have as much reach, and I would need other people nearby to carry that, and we would have to like node it out.
there are other groups. There are other groups though that are trying to do that.
Mhm.
So they're working on that currently. That were also banned on Facebook and stuff. It wasn't just like, it's funny because the community, the Patriot community thought it was just them. It wasn't just the Patriot community. It was other groups that were banned as well.
Yeah, they all came second.
I mean, we could use the dark web, but it's full of feds too.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and I don't know why the Patriot community thought that they were just,
There's
On the fucking dark web.
there's actually a couple options I'm not going to talk about while we're podcasting. I'll discuss later.
Fair.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just giving out generic things that most tech people know that exist, and like they've been using the mesh stuff in Hong Kong.
I'm just saying.
I think that's where my article originated from.
We really need to be paying attention to what Hong Kong is doing. We need to be copying them in every fashion.
What
We
what
need to
what's the
send
Hon-
support to fucking Hong Kong.
what
I
what
wish we
the
could
Hong
run
Kong
guns there.
what
They're
the Hong Kong
waiting on us.
protesters what the Hong Kong protesters are doing is they're using apps that operate solely off Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
The only
Yeah.
problem with that though, there is a huge downfall to that though, unfortunately.
It's easily hackable.
Lockdown.
And well, no, it's not easy. Not only
Yeah.
is it easily hackable, but currently, like where I'm at, up in the Pacific Northwest, with what was going on in like the Seattle, Portland area, there's LRADs and jammers.
Yeah, but you can actually get things to protect you from the jammers too, and run those.
Well, they now have this one technology up here that is a Bluetooth jammer.
Right. Like there's also a device you can get that will protect you from being jammed.
On
As
Bluetooth,
far as I
really?
understand. Yeah, I don't know what it's fucking called, but I could have sworn I listened to some guys talking about it like a couple of weeks ago.
Because I know that's what they're running into up here is jamming the Bluetooths and everything with the protesters. That's what
I mean, I'm gonna have to look into it. I don't know for sure, but like I think that that they've come up with something already to defend from that. But like obviously you got to know what it is and how to get one and how to run it.
We need to get into a chat later and discuss some other things.
by all means, if you can get me into that, that would be awesome. Because yeah, I'm on kind of the same page Mike is. There's a lot that I've got from Hong Kong too that
I think your mic changed.
mine.
Yeah, something went on.
You may
Oh,
need to
it's
drop
fine
and
now.
reconnect.
No, it's fine now. It
I
went
just
back
muted
again.
it for a second because my dog. Sorry.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
So now instead of trying to kind of defend ourselves from their technology, I mean, there's got to be technology out there to jam whatever they're doing. I'm not a super techie guy. I'm somewhat techie.
The poor's can't legally own this shit.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about those objects
Yeah,
here.
got it right here.
Got it.
Yeah,
These things exist. The government knows they exist.
and we're
They
not
do.
supposed to have them. So
Yeah.
Right. Well, the poor aren't supposed to have anything.
Just,
I'm not even
just
all
like
that
when you're
fucking poor.
Well,
just like when you're
God
driving a
bless you,
semi,
narco
you can't have.
transcriptionists.
I'm poor.
Just like when
Hey,
you're driving a
hey.
semi, it's a rather high level misdemeanor to have a radar jammer in your truck, and you will get fined and you will lose your license and all that good
Yeah.
shit.
yeah. Here's
I
the
mean-
thing. We don't need a radar jammer. This is why I said we need to all link up elsewhere later, more secure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then moving along.
There you go.
The technology exists. Moving along. You know, real quick, we started out talking about
We
the
can
Vanguard.
create it.
we can build
We have
anything.
the
We're a bunch of smart
technology.
motherfuckers.
We have the money, but we don't want to spend a lot of it.
Yeah, right. So we started out talking about the Vanguard, and you know, I know. So my role as a rep, you know, it's been on and off. I do a lot more locally, and try and get the message out locally. You know, you don't see me talking in a lot of our different social media platforms. You don't see me in a ton of places. You see me just enough to know that I exist.
Yeah.
And really it's because I'm busy. I'm busy doing local stuff. I'm busy running my business, I'm busy being a human. But I'll tell you what brought me in particular to the Vanguard or to the Boog movement at all, is, you know, there's a couple different factions, as we know, and the Vanguard in particular it's more of a just a voluntary thing, and we're all just doing our part because we want to, not because we're appointed to it, not because we're drawn here. A lot of it is because of my libertarian beliefs. You know, like, I believe in a free country. I believe that the Constitution existed for a reason, and I believe that tyrants are running our country at this point. And that's it. You know, it's like in a nutshell. But the Vanguard in particular, you know, just like any other movement, like, has its issues, but you know, all in all, everybody's on the same page, you know, and that's and everyone's free to come or go as they please, you know. So that's what brought me here. That's what keeps me here. So I'd like to hear from the rest of you guys what brought you specifically to Vanguard, and why do you stay?
Cruz,
who
Cruz,
goes
would you like
first?
to start on that one?
I don't know. Our original founder actually sought me out personally and asked me to kind of tag along with him and help him out with this endeavor we've been working on. And I've, not that I followed him blindly, but it was more of a I trusted him and he trusted me kind of thing.
Which is hard to come by. That's a hard thing to ask.
It is.
Right? It truly is.
And then from there, I just kind of kept along with it, like, through the whole time. It's been a long fucking, almost a year now, David?
It's pushing close, man. It is.
Yep.
Crazy.
But the message is getting out there. I mean, I see it locally, and I see it in other places. Like, the message is getting out there, and the trust comes with time, and comes with, you know, it's just like anything else, right? I know for me, making relationships inside the movement has just been like making relationships in business, right? Like, you meet someone, you talk about some stuff, you do some jobs together, and you build some trust, right? Now here, it's, you know, a little different. We're talking about, you know, freedom and liberty, but it's the same idea.
I just, personally, I just wanted a better life for our kids.
Or grandkids in my case. Old son bitch. There'll come a day, Galaxy. There will come a day you'll be old and have grandkids, and hopefully they'll be more free than we were.
Well, I mean, I might as well go ahead and tell you guys now. I just found out the other day I'm expecting again.
Woo! Congratulations.
Congrats.
It's a little nebula.
Hell yeah.
No, Galaxy, you're expecting? Man, is there something you got to tell us?
Is there something we don't know about you? Is there something we don't know? Old fucker.
Where are you gonna fit that, that, you skinny fuck. Jeez.
I'm a weird freak, but not like that.
That's how we're gonna make money. That's how it is right there, Galaxy.
Boog only
$20 is $20.
$20 is $20.
Y'all are only getting $20 for this shit. Y'all gotta hook up with me. I'll help you out. This is not equitable.
Mike's already got the PDF of the price list.
What
Send
was
us your
I
flat
talking
rate
about
list,
last
Mike. So, Bex, what brought you here? What keeps you here?
Oh goodness, that's kind of a funny story.
Bex, you can be honest about the whole thing. You left and came back.
Yeah, I originally came to the Vanguard, kind of found them by accident. I was originally, all I knew was I've been politically involved, but I never really fit into the Democrat or Republican side. I always thought it was like trying to make me choose between arsenic and cyanide. Either way, it was going to end badly.
Accurate.
And I kind of always heard about, like, I had friends that were involved in the Patriot community, but I never really fit in there either. And always, I kept hearing everyone joke about this whole, like, Boogaloo Boys and everything, and I kind of heard about them and heard rumors about them, and I was like, what is this? And so by the time I found, it wasn't called Liberty's Vanguard at the time. It was called a Clarification Convention.
Yeah. Oh, those days.
Yeah,
Back on
days.
Facebook.
It was back then. And I had been looking for I'd heard about these big boys, and it was about the time that CNN had done a story on them, and everyone got in trouble on Facebook because of the CNN story. And so they had changed the CNN, they incorporated the CNN logo.
CNN boys.
Where's my mask?
Yeah.
And I thought that was the most epic thing ever. And I thought it was hilarious. And that was around the time that I found Clarification Convention and the original founder and Mondo, and was like, okay. And I just kind of started kind of chiming in and talking, and wasn't really thinking about joining. And then they asked me to join officially. And about that time, everyone started getting zucked, and everyone was scrambling, and it turned into chaos. And at one point, I did leave for a little bit, and I was the Washington State rep. And due to everyone scrambling and finding each other on other platforms, there was
And
some
you could admit you left. It was my fault. That's fine.
Yeah, there were some issues with vetting, and we and this didn't just happen with our. It wasn't.
I have learned a lot since then.
Yeah, it was other groups.
Yeah, and not for nothing, even I stepped away at one point because it was a mess, and it was all on Facebook, and you know, like we were just talking about trust. Well, that's a hard thing to come by, and you know, it's just we're all a little careful, you know.
Yeah, and I took a break. Well, now I'm back. Because there's during that break, of course, as we can all tell, across the country, across the world right now, things have escalated.
Yes.
We have protests around the world. We have protests across our country. Groups that were originally just kind of being low key, and even our own country, have suddenly stepped up. And I was like, okay, this is not, quiet time anymore. And one of the guys that was in our group, he's been asking me to come back. He's like, I wish you would come back. I wish you would come back. I was like, no. And finally he was like, you have to come back. And so, yeah, I came back.
Be honest, he shoved you into a Zoom call with me.
I think y'all were both drunk that night.
Which night?
The answer is yes.
Which night?
To be honest, he is drunk most nights. So
not lately. He's been working. I hope he's not drunk at work.
well, no, he's not drunk at work at night. Now he's drunk at
Gonna
work
get
at
somebody in
9
trouble
a.m.
now.
before he goes to sleep.
Nice.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, look, I used to get drunk at work. I was a foreman. I stayed drunk almost all day.
Back
Like-
when I was trying the white market and doing waiting tables and shit at like some really nice places that made some really good money, we would just go get fucking wasted and then come back.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Bro, I haven't drank.
Like that white girl wasted.
No, like we went to the movie tavern and just drank as much beer as we possibly could during our lunch break and then came back. Like it was the worst stuff too.
Four locals. Oh,
Damn.
I drank a lot of Jägermeister. All
Oh
day.
man, that stuff
Oh, yeah.
hurts me because I like
That
it.
No,
Jaeger bombs. Oh my
hard no
god.
from me.
I couldn't do Jaeger bombs. They gave me one of those at the club once, and I made a shit ton of money, but I never wanted to do that again. I couldn't remember most of it.
My sinuses were mostly fried from cocaine at that point, so the Jaeger was about the only thing I could taste.
Those cocaine Jägermeister in it. That shit is bad for me. I will drink way too many of them and then dance with everyone in the bar and then on it.
Flaming Dr. Pepper, dude. My god, that
What's
fucking.
that?
Flaming
Oh,
Dr.
those-
Peppers.
Where you
those
got
are-
like
what is
fucking.
that?
those, yeah.
Apparently, my
What is it,
personal
beer?
shot, the Black Pearl, never got out of this region, which is probably a good thing for humanity.
Tell me about it.
There's a lot of things never made it out of my house that were probably good for humanity.
I wish I could say that, but most things made it out of my house, and sometimes I have some regrets.
Oh no.
No
Drink safe
regrets.
home.
You know, in the late 1700s, it was totally okay to sleep in the yard drunk. I don't know when that changed,
That's
but for
still
fuck's
okay
sake.
if you live in Azle.
Fucking shame.
Fair.
You know, if it's warm out, who cares? I slept in plenty of yards. I was
I
that
never
guy,
slept in-
man.
I
And
never
shit.
slept in the yard.
Mm.
I bet I could
An
get away with that here. I bet I could get drunk and sleep in the yard here.
You could not get away with that even in my little town in Connecticut. Like somebody would roll by, call the police. Next thing you
See,
know,
that's my thing. Nobody rolls by.
yeah, okay,
You
yeah,
got
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Like, nobody rolls by, so it wouldn't matter. I mean, like I might get in trouble by like some concerned person here being like,
Right.
Bro,
"You're gonna
God, I can't
get
even
bit
piss off
by
my back
a snake or
porch
something."
Some tweaker would jack you here.
Some tweaker, yeah.
That is the good thing about being out in the middle of goddamn nowhere. The only thing I got to worry about is snakes. So long as
Snakes.
no- yeah,
Don't step.
snakes,
Don't
snakes.
step.
And them Fed boys.
Somebody tell my cat that. He's always picking fights.
No touchy.
Danger
Wow.
noodles.
You know what they say about the bully in the schoolyard? Sooner or later, he gets his ass whipped.
I hope not.
Well, yeah, it might be what it, you know, so I know that personally, my lessons in life came when I finally got my ass whipped by something. And you know, whether that was drugs, alcohol, or another human being, I got my ass whipped. So, you know, that's when I learned. For some of us, even the cute little kitty cat, you know, that's what has to happen. So Mondo,
I don't want to admit how many times that was me kicking my own ass.
Yeah, I still do that. I have an amazing wife, and I kick my own ass almost daily when I say some dumb shit sideways. You know.
Foot in
So,
mouth, foot in mouth, foot in mouth.
Yeah, foot in mouth. Yeah. Sucking my own ass, that kind of thing. So Mondo, so what brought you here? What keeps you here? What are your hopes for the Vanguard moving forward?
Loaded questions again, man.
As generic as possible.
Okay, well, I'll start with where I am. Marty brought me into all this. I've been a libertarian for years. I've always been libertarian. I realized that several years ago. I started realizing that, you know, like there could be value in the idea of the ANCAP And when Marty approached me, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna try this thing," but he didn't really tell me what it was. I'm like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm game.
Yeah.
And Galaxy knows what I'm talking about. He absolutely knows. Bex knows from a later date, but yeah, we all came in the same way. Marty coaxed us in. He's like, "Do you want to do something brand new?" And Kaylich, by the time that you came in, and that was pretty evident. We had you came in like we had drafted about 2/3 of the document when you came in.
There's a lot of voting back then.
Yeah, I remember like
You.
We were like so pressured for time though.
it was like
'Cause we
so
knew
weird
the
to me.
rough was coming.
It was like so weird to me, and like I kept going on all these different pages and having fun and whatever, and it really, to me, the Boog started out as a meme, and then like it took on this life of its own, and then all of a sudden here comes the clarification convention, and it's like, holy shit, somebody just went and got fucking serious. What happened here? Like, what happened to the 52nd Penguin Platoon and the CNF boys and stealing the Riding with Biden page?
Okay, I have to clarify something.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
I have to clarify something. The 52nd Penguin Platoon will never die
No, it won't. No.
because that was just too amazing.
Are you in it on me week? Because if not, I can get you guys back in.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm already there. What are you talking about?
It's back? Yeah, because it got shut down for a little while.
Yeah, there's been like 3 or 4 iterations of it since I joined
Yeah.
MeWe.
I finally just got my patch, for fuck's sake.
Man,
Dude, my wife is so done
No,
with me
it-
ordering patches. I have fucking patches everywhere. She's like, dude. She's like, what the fuck? You got more
Get a vel-
patches. So I
Okay,
said,
so here's
That's
what you
half
do.
of our
Get a
freaking
Velcro,
kit.
get a Velcro wall to put under your flags, so that your whole fucking wall is covered with flags and patches.
Galaxy's pulling out his kit.
No,
got
I'm trying to show the fucking 3 patches that I've had forever, but it won't. It's gonna make me take them off.
So
Dude,
Mondo, keep going.
Galaxy,
We get
your
sidetracked.
your patch and your vest looks so fucking huge on you.
I know, but I'd rather have the coverage.
Well, he's like a 28-year-old stick figure.
he's like super
Well,
skinny.
yeah, Amanda, wait until you see
I'm
me
only
in my
26.
kit. Dude.
My soul is like
It
fucking
barely
50
covers
years
it.
old.
It barely covers my fucking tits.
Oh my god.
There
Oh
we
my
go.
I have a buddy in the Northeast that he's got a plate carrier, and he's a larger man. And the last time we met up,
That was my
his
favorite.
belly was hanging out the bottom of the kit because his T-shirt like pulled up under the kit, so it's just like kit and belly. I ran by and I started giving him a pink belly. I thought he was gonna fucking shoot me.
Oh my god.
Accidental discharge.
Well,
I was clearing my weapon.
Yeah, that would have been an NAFC move.
Yeah.
So
I just gotta say, with you and all these patches, like this shit speaks to my old punk rocker days so hard that I now have too many patches to put in places, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to put some of these on my jacket.
Hey,
I just put 'em on the top of the
question,
car.
Mike. Question,
Mhm.
Mike. You look like your punk rocker days are still like in full force, buddy.
Well, they kind of died for a little while. I was really depressed because of the heroin shit that killed a bunch of us. But then I was like, oh shit, all those baseball bat wielding motherfuckers have like ARs now and they're running around screaming boogaloo. So
they stopped doing heroin, man. That's what
they
happened. Look at
stopped doing
me.
heroin and now
Look
they're
at
mad
me.
again. I know, like I used to be like, oh, punk rock's not dead, they're just in a heroin haze. And for a little while there, I was just like kind of floating around going, where'd they all go? I've run into so many fucking old school punk rockers in the movement. It pleases the hell out of me.
They're the
They
ones
aren't
that
dead.
lived, man. They're the ones
Yeah.
that lived.
The motherfuckers that lived through it. We're still here, y'all. Be
I definitely
prepared.
used to. I used to wake up at a punk rock bar over in New London, Connecticut.
You used to wake up in one?
Yeah. The bartender was awesome. She was this older lady, Beth. She was a super cougar, and she'd wake me up. I'd bang a couple lines, have some coffee, and get moving and go to work at like 3 a.m. And I'd sleep in the corner booth for 3-4 hours, and then wake up and do it all over again. Yep.
Hey, Mark, I gotta say, you're not that much older than me, but your life has been a lot more fucking lit than mine.
He's only like 2 years older than me. And I'm
Dude,
like, what the fuck?
So maybe I should just do a show alone one day and kind of tell my
I love
life
this
story.
shit.
It's pretty fucking crazy. Like my entire life story, like even now, right? At the age of 41, I just found out who my real father is, who is actually closely connected to my family. And my grandfather was the sitting senator of New York State for 10 years. He was
God.
the Republican
Ooh, hey.
senator. Huh?
Hey, a thought.
Yeah.
A whole new podcast channel. The story of each Liberty Boy.
I like it.
Yes. Fuck yes.
That might get scary, but yeah.
I'm
in.
definitely gonna be for that. Like
Man,
that's one of the things we
God.
try to do
Well,
with our Liberty
Well,
Tea Time, except for
here-
it's every
here,
Liberty people.
Let me explain it. Okay, so we would take each person that wants to contribute, get their whole story, and make sure they're not a like shadow fucking authoritarian bastard.
You
That would
did.
suck.
Thank you. Fuck. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because,
Yeah, it's so hard
because
to tell
I'm
sometimes.
No, you put some
Because,
organization to it. You start with the reps.
This is the Boog, and these are their stories.
Right, right.
I love it.
And Hades is gonna bring it in. I like it.
So I have a question real quick. What does your sweatshirt mean? The S and
This?
R.
Shield Republic.
Okay.
Well, let's see if you can read it. Can you read it?
Yeah. Nice.
My wife got me this because my wife is fucking the coolest wife ever. My wife is actually one of the most supportive women. I'm in recovery, and so I don't do any drugs whatsoever. I have like a recovery movement that I belong to, right? And then I have the libertarian movement that's local. Then I have the Boog movement, and like I own a business, and we have a family, and of younger kids who have to get homeschooled, and like she's in college, and like I'm amazing, but like she's amazing, right? Like we're both amazing, supportive to each other, and not that we don't have our problems, but like it takes two amazing people to like do as much as we do on a daily basis, and it gets crazy. But like my wife is like, she's just tops, man. She's like number one. She's awesome.
That's cool.
It took me a few to
Make
find her.
people jealous.
Yeah, I had to ride a couple crazy trains to like hop on the right crazy train, but I finally found the right crazy train.
Shit, I gave up the
I
crazy
marry her.
trains.
What's that, Abby? Abby said something. Hold on. What'd you say, Abs?
I said I'd marry her.
Yeah? Shit. Well, careful.
Watch out,
Better
man.
guard
You're
it.
gonna have to
Guard
fight
it.
me for her. We will duel.
Hey,
I
Mark, just
challenge you
think
to a
about it. You
duel.
got to. Mark, man, just be a Mormon. Have 2 wives.
Hey, I mean, I know
Oh,
it's
shit, we got
doing
it.
it for social distancing.
I ain't joining their cult. I ain't got time for that.
No, yeah. I don't think I could ever do the whole like sister wife bullshit.
I
Yeah,
can't
this
do women
that
in
just makes it
general, let alone freaking as
No,
a
I don't
no.
care
That's
nicely.
not the sister wives bullshit. They're in a relationship too.
What?
Best way to do it.
What?
Oh, so the women
Polyamory.
are in relationships as
Never
well.
mind. I do.
Yeah.
Never mind.
There
I
is
fucking derailed
actually
everything.
there is way more what's the word, polyamorous relationships
Polyamory.
in the US than ever
Polyamorous.
before.
Yeah.
Where
Right.
there's like 3, you know, there, and sometimes it's 2 men and 1 woman. Or
Yeah,
sometimes,
the
you know what
only
I mean?
time, so there was one guy I dated that he tried to tell me he was polyamorous. No, he was just a narcissistic asshole who
Yeah.
was a serial cheater. And
Ah.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
not
he
the
was. He
same
wasn't
thing.
polyamorous. He was
Polyamorous people are
making it.
honest
Wait,
with each
hold
other.
up,
exactly.
hold up, hold up,
Whoa.
hold up. Okay, so Bex,
Yeah.
polyamory is never ever something you should feel bullied into.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm
Period.
aware.
Bingo.
No, I'm aware of what polyamory
Yeah,
is.
for real. And I know you know,
And that's what
but
I had to explain to him the first few times when like
but
I realized that there was other girls that didn't realize about the other girls, and like there was a couple girls I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
realize
not
about. I was
polyamory.
like,
well,
That's
well,
shit.
Yeah,
well,
that's
that
I was
that
like,
is
we're all supposed
well.
to
The
know
thing
about
is,
each other.
the thing is, that's not polyamory. That's cheating.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
That's what
just
I was
that's
like.
just being a scumbag.
Exactly. I was like, this is not polyamorous. This is you being a narcissistic cheater, asshole.
I want to fuck 16 women. I'm
Exactly.
in a polyamorous relationship.
And trying to make it okay by telling you about it. Right?
Right.
So that's
Exactly.
just some sick manipulative shit.
Exactly. I was like, no,
Yeah.
you're just a narcissistic dickhead. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it requires a shit ton
listen,
of
at
trust and crap.
some point in life, I was the guy who was like, well, listen, I don't want to have a relationship with you. I just want to sleep with you, and I'm going to sleep with other people. Like, I was honest
yeah,
about
that's
it, but I
not-
was still a
That's
bastard.
just being
You know?
open. Like that's. I mean, you
That
gotta
still
think
wasn't okay.
to you.
It's not okay if it's okay if people are all okay with it. It's consensual.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would
as
have
long as
been
you're open about it, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
you
had been
just
like
don't
open like that
Dick
would have been
people
different.
over.
But yeah, but like when one girl would show up, or like, you know, when like we would go out and like another girl would walk up and be like, oh, hi, you know, it was like girls were not knowing about other girls. It was really awkward. Yeah, it was
It's a
a whole
shit
shit
show.
show.
He's like,
Yeah.
what, babe? What? I was just being. I already told you.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Same thing with,
exactly. He'd be like, well, I'm polyamorous. I was like, dude, that's not polyamorous. You're just a cheater.
You're
it's
just
not.
a
It's
scumbag.
not polyamory. It's
Yeah.
not polyamory. It's
Yeah.
it's narcissism, and it's a controlling factor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and then he
gross.
would try and flip it on the women. And be like, well,
They are basically low grade status.
yeah, and he would always try and flip it on the women. It was somehow their fault, and they were insecure. And I was like, no, you're just an asshole, and you're fucking with women's heads, and you're abusive, and no, this is not cool. So yeah, it was a whole bad thing, and yeah, no, he was not polyamorous. I like how he
Nope.
tried to use it though. I was like,
Yeah.
that's not cool.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
not.
sorry I derailed the
But there's
conversation.
so many people that don't know that they can pull that over on people. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, it was really
Yeah, people don't look into things.
No, they
For some
don't.
reason.
They just take it hand to mouth and go from there.
Yeah, I felt really
Not
sad
saying
for
that
the
it's
other
their
girls.
fault or anything. I'm definitely not saying it's their fault. It's just
No, I
because
had to
they're
explain it to
uneducated, very easy to take advantage of.
I had to explain it to a couple of the other girls. I was like, no, he's not polyamorous. This is not okay. You should not be okay with this. Yeah.
I've had to do that with people before too, because I mostly girls from my experiences, but like it could come from any side. But like girls would get these guys who didn't know anything, didn't know shit about shit, basically. And they'd tell them, you know, like I'm polyamorous, so you have to be okay with me doing whatever the fuck I want, basically. And it would just destroy these dudes. Like they would end up being like pressured into it, and they weren't polyamorous to begin with. And if you're not poly, you're not poly. You don't
Yeah.
become poly. You either wired that way or you're not wired that way.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of problems in the world with like not understanding things too, like or using like somebody using something like that as cover. You know, like for a long time, I didn't understand. You know, personally, like I didn't understand what polyamorous meant, or like I think I asked you on one of the segments, Mike, is like, what exactly does anarchist mean to you, or anarcho-capitalists, or minarchists? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of misunderstanding that goes along with all these things, whether you're talking about sexuality, or you're talking about movements, or you're just talking about some normal everyday fucking things. There's like a million terms for everything lately. And like, to me, growing up, like, I don't know about you guys, but everything was much simpler, right? Like, you slept with one chick, because if you slept with more than one chick, it kind of wasn't okay, and you were kind of doing something wrong, right? And even if you told them that you were doing it, like, it still really wasn't okay. It just made it a little more okay. You know, and then of course, you know, things change. Like, the world's changed a lot in 20 years.
Well,
Oh yeah,
well,
societally, I was a
actually,
dirtbag back
have a
then.
point to say on that, actually, because in the last, I mean, Mark, I'm not far from your age. I'm 38. I've seen all these same changes that you did.
Yeah.
And the theme and the concept and the structure had to change with the evolution of the sexual identity. So if someone like this is none of my business, you know. If
Yep.
if you identify,
none of my business.
If you identify this way, that's who you are. And even though I like, part of me thinks that biologically you're fighting against yourself, it is not my place to judge anybody for that. So if someone says, I'm working on this, I need to adjust to it, I need to go through the whole process or whatever else, and they're like, this is who I want to be, that's their own individual concept. We are voluntarist society, in essence.
Well,
If that's who that
humans
person
are.
wants to be, we agree and abide by that. We also agree and abide by the idea that if somebody wants a partner, they have to be open and honest with them.
Well, that's what we were taught. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we were taught by our families growing up. At least, well, to some extent, my family, not so much, but.
Well, I mean, if you don't know everything, you can't actually like really consent to something if you don't know if you don't know everything about it.
Right.
Well, and let me take a pause here and say something. So, there's a lot of culture and counterculture where people want to hide who they used to be and become something else. And this is something that in realism, the Vanguard is going to do. The Vanguard used to be straight boog. The Vanguard is going to acknowledge itself in the proper time as something that developed out from the boog and became a different entity. And this is actually relevant to this conversation, because if we're in a time where things change really quick, it's really fast paced, and a lot of people who don't know how to identify themselves, they're not getting a lot of help. People that are trying to figure out who they are and what they're about, nobody's willing to listen to them, because everything is cancel culture. Everything is shut up and do what you're told. And that's just fucking toxic.
I do want to ask real quick. So the whole cancel culture, I was kind of curious about that, because yeah, we do have this whole cancel culture thing, and I kind of, that got brought up the other day.
Sure.
I guess it's because more of the whole Antifa does it, because we have the whole doxing and the whole cancel culture. And doxing is getting completely out of hand. Now everyone doxes everyone else. To the point of now it's getting so bad, I almost feel like I have to send everyone Christmas cards when it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really
Bex.
does.
Explain
Bex,
real quick
Bex.
to anybody that's going to be listening to this. Explain
Okay.
doxing.
Okay, so doxing is, well, it originally
Bex.
appeared. Yes.
I wanted to say something before you started.
Mhm.
I've been listening to you and Jarrett and a bunch of our other reps about how things are interacting across the country.
Mhm.
There are absolutely certain areas where the Igloo and the Liberty Boys and everybody else can interact with Antifa without worry in certain areas.
Oh, so I guess it's just more prevalent in our area.
Well, to be honest, up there in Oregon and Washington, you guys are dealing with an entirely different beast.
So
like,
okay, so
if I gave the Vanguard a guide on how to conduct themselves, I really could not apply that to you or John. Because
so I guess real quick. So doxing is, oh my gosh. So the original form of doxing, and I'll get into the original form. Original form of doxing is where a group or a person will get a hold of another person's personal information, be it a name, a phone number, address, email, and post it on the internet to where the public can see it, make it public information. And then whoever else can do with it as they see fit. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, that has resulted in, we've had Antifa. Originally, from I heard originally, Antifa was doxing members of other organizations. And then the result of that was members of Antifa were showing up at their houses. There were threats, et cetera, et cetera. Then the less threatening, more mild form of doxing is they will put other people's like Facebook profiles and post it on like Twitter or their Antifa Facebook page or whatever, for example. So then people can go and harass them on that page if they can.
okay, so can I give my opinion on the problem with the doxing?
The only problem is now Antifa is not just doxing it. Now other groups are doxing each other now, and it's become this. Apparently, it's the hip thing now. So
that's part of
why
it.
That's why I joked that now it's gotten so bad that I feel like I should start sending Christmas cards when it happens because it's like congratulations.
See, I got doxxed early, and like they were not Antifa; they were just crazy leftists.
I got doxxed by people in like the community forum. Like,
Like,
you know, they put my information out there and got mad at me because I took my son to a park. And they put like everything that I've been arrested for online. They like screenshotted the judicial websites and like.
Hey, Mark, you got doxxed by a Karen.
Yeah,
I got doxxed by a Karen.
Doxxed by a Karen.
A group of Karens. And it's like, I don't even want to admit to that because I didn't get doxxed by anyone important. You know, like
you got doxxed by Karen. See, we get doxxed by like Antifa. So
I didn't get doxxed by anyone important. I just got doxxed by crazy people.
Look, they're called.
I was one of the early doxes by Antifa.
And
okay. I got doxed fairly early on by Antifa.
We don't have
they actually put me up on their main one of their main websites back in the day.
Okay.
And you know what it was over? You remember that Antifa idiot that got duct taped to a stop sign?
Nice.
I
love it.
I posted that on a bunch of different social media pages, and they doxed me over that.
Yeah, they were.
That's what they fucking doxed me for.
Because nobody
They
knew.
showed up at my house and I was sitting outside with their rifle. They didn't show up again.
So, we talked about a couple other topics before we get to those. While we're talking about this doxing shit, which is, let's be honest, it's just fucking stupid.
Petty as fuck.
People that hate the system are doxing other people that hate the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You're
just
getting
fucking
played by the
ridiculous.
system.
It's fucking ridiculous. So, and this is something
I can see uses for doxing, like to out pedophiles.
There cannot be
Yes.
there cannot be a blatant rule for this. By the way, if you're going to dox a pedophile, I'm not going to argue with you. Just make sure they're an actual pedophile
Yes.
and
An
not
actual
some
pedophile. Don't just be like, I think this person might be.
Oh no! I think well, I'm not going to speak for Mando here, but I know there are far too many people that are classified in the system as pedophiles that were screwed by the system.
Yeah,
You know, like
no,
an
you gotta do
18-year-old having
research.
sex with their 17 or 16-year-old
Well-
girlfriend.
Well,
Dude, I had a
and
friend.
yeah,
Oh, because it's
because a
statutory
girl
rape, so that's
him a
you
fake
know
ID.
they're now a pedophile.
You know, so like,
Yeah,
he would never
that
have
too.
had sex with an underage girl, but she gave him a fake ID and it ruined his fucking life. So like, you got to do your research.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you're gonna dox a pedo, you better fucking do your goddamn research.
and that
Otherwise, that's
yes,
on you.
yes,
Man.
Mike, yes. This is something that should be very carefully considered. There are so many people out there who are like, "Oh, I'm going to go hunt a pedophile." Make sure it's an actual fucking pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
A high school
Otherwise,
senior,
you're just a fucktard.
a high school senior with a younger high school girlfriend is not a fucking pedophile. They're just
It's
a
just
couple
some
of
guy
fucking.
experienced in life.
They're just a couple of fucking like high school idiots that don't know what's going on yet.
Well, not only that is you have to make sure you also know the difference between a pedophile and a predator, because there's people can also, unfortunately, it's like a look, don't touch thing. Obviously, we've had very long discussions about this here on the podcast, but unfortunately, the law can't do anything for just having conversations or just having photos. Well, to an extent, obviously, but acting upon it obviously is a huge different thing. So yeah, definitely allegedly throw that with like an asterisk, like everywhere. Like, just be very careful when you're trying to point the finger.
And that is a very good point, because state by state, county by county, even city by city, these laws vary.
Yeah,
And some of them, in some places, would count the 18-year-old with his 16-year-old girlfriend as a sex offender.
Yeah.
And that's not fucking okay.
And
They're
then
both
some
in
have
high
like
school.
Romeo
They're-
and Juliet laws that allow it. So
Yeah,
depends.
but
I mean, you also have situations where a dude got drunk, was pissing outside the bar, and because it was near residential area, suddenly he's a fucking sex offender because a kid might have seen his dick out.
Those laws are bullshit. Because listen, we should be able to pee anywhere we want. Even you, Bex. Like, just like be considerate to the other humans around you. But like,
Yeah,
if you
don't
gotta
pee
go,
on
you gotta
anyone
go.
without consent.
Why do I have to piss in a Dunkin' Donuts cup inside my truck because like I'm too close to a fucking parking lot? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you can't pee on the side of the highway anymore because there's laws against it that you could turn into a sex offender. So yeah, we have to be very careful. Like when we talk about wanting to throw fucking pedos into a wood chipper, like making sure that they're pedos.
Well, you better
Yeah.
make sure it's a real pedo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allegedly, possibly, maybe, more or less.
Allegedly. I just love that word, allegedly.
Yeah. We just want to throw
Allegedly.
him in the wood chipper in Minecraft.
Allegedly,
We're
we're
gonna
going to throw them in the wood
Possibly,
chipper.
at some point in time, may or may not happen.
Allegedly.
allegedly, I might have a custom rifle in the future. Fuck you guys.
So, okay, back to the whole cancel culture. So did the cancel culture originate from like the whole we're not going to go to the so-and-so's business because they were bad or whatever? We don't agree with their customer
I
service.
could word vomit like all this stuff if you really wanted to. I've watched so many YouTube videos. There's so many pedophiles on freaking YouTube. It's disgusting. Allegedly. Anyways,
Allegedly.
so cancel culture, like you see it all the time, right? People cancel celebrities. So let's just say okay, I have a huge example. Crystalia has been accused of pretty much talking to girls that were, about the line, so 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and bringing them in, like after my show, all that kind of like really intensely creepy stuff. Well, on the other hand, without any proof, without any conversations, one of my favorite bands, one of the members from it was also being accused literally at the same time with zero to no proof at all, like nothing to back it. So there's this huge rage culture because the trigger word is he groomed her, he assaulted her, he touched her, he this, that, this, and the other. And he was like 19 and she was, but in the other hand, you have Crystalia that's like 26, 27, talking to 15, 16, 17, 18, like, so it's just, people want to hear the trigger words, which is why trigger is such a like a topic. But
here's what I believe on this. If there are people that want to enact their own enforcement on injustice, before they touch anyone, before they try anything, don't be fucking stupid. Don't trust a court record. Be thorough. Because just because somebody was labeled a sex offender does not mean they were a terrible person.
Well, we're doing the cancel culture
exactly.
without any records, right? There's not even any. I mean,
it's away from the people that have so much proof against them. Like, Shane Dawson was recently canceled with just like years of just proof of disgusting stuff. But because everybody's been doing it, and honestly, we're 9 months into freaking COVID and quarantine, nobody cares anymore. Like, it's just going to wash over with everything else. So it's like, well, cancel culture is what the world makes it, but it's outrage culture. But I heard it from somewhere. Outrage culture isn't even going to be outrage culture because outrage culture is going to be like a moot point because everything's going to be an outrage.
Well,
What happened to Epstein?
Like fucking another prevalent case, like Johnny Depp. He's got so much evidence against his ex-wife.
That's so fucked up.
And nothing's going to fucking happen to her. And he's lost out on yet another movie. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, nothing's going to happen to her, even though she was clearly the abusive one, controlling, manipulative.
And he wasn't even guilty, and he's had to walk away and been kicked out of roles. Like, it's just, yeah.
So here's the thing here. If we're going to like try to make calls on anything like this, be like, hey, this person is a bad person, this person needs to be called out, they need to be acknowledged by the public, or anything else that would happen. We have to do our research. We have to find our evidence. We have to be sure.
Well, a good example of that is a fellow who's currently in jail for shooting a pedo who had a kid's fucking playground built in his backyard and didn't have kids.
You slap that boy's hand.
Here's the thing.
Wait, which one had the playground in the backyard?
This was a couple years ago, but I remember reading about the trial recently. Oh, no, the pedo that had the playground in his backyard.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the neighbor of the pedo, knew the dude was a pedo from the registry, repeatedly called the police about him trying to lure kids into his backyard, and the police did nothing about it, and so he shot the guy.
That's
I forget I forget the whole story, but that's
In
that's
God's
what I
work.
remember from the articles I read.
Well,
Can't we just identify all the real pedos and we'll put them on an island together? Or is that
That's
racist?
stupid.
Throw them on Epstein. Throw them all on Epstein Island with
Oof.
no way off.
Nice.
So
That's
so
too
here
good for
so
those
here's the
pieces of
thing.
shit.
Here's the thing we have to remember, because I mean, these people that do these crimes are the scum of the earth. But the American Constitution gave us a standard. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Due process.
Due process. Due process has been thrown out the fucking window by our
Oh, yeah.
government.
Yeah, our court system is broken. It does not fucking work.
So
No, they'll come after you.
in light of this, just because the court process said someone is guilty does not make them a natural offender. We have to examine the evidence ourselves.
Yeah.
Just because the court says, oh, this guy's a pedophile. Oh, what? He was 19 and had sex with his 17-year-old girlfriend that he'd been in a relationship with 3 years? Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I also don't agree with, like, I think California just made a new standard, right? If there's like a 10-year stretch between 24 and 14, I think that's gone a little far.
A
What?
10-year Romeo and Juliet law? Are you shitting me?
I think so, yeah. California, in the midst of all this COVID nonsense, came up with a
Of course they
statute
did.
that,
It's Hollywood.
Okay, I have to say,
Yeah.
as a guy that's 38, at 24, if I was with a girl that was 14,
Big that.
somebody should have checked my ass.
Yeah, there's no reason that you know.
When I was, I'll say this real, like real personal experience here. When I was 20 years old, and I was active in like the ministry at the church in my local area, there was a girl in the same youth ministry stuff that was all into me. She was under 15. I flat out said, hey, no, we can't do this. No, this is not okay. We're in a different phase of life. This does not work. That's not a hard thing to comprehend.
No, it's not.
So when someone tries to say, oh, I was 20 and she was 14, but we were in love. Now, that's a middle schooler and a high school graduate. Fuck
yeah,
you.
no, that's too far. So the new bill says the measure won't apply when a minor is under 14, when the gap is larger than 10 years, or when either party says the sex wasn't consensual. So anyone under the age of 14 cannot consent, but over the age of 14 can consent as long as there's no more than a 10-year gap.
That's too fucking much.
Yeah, that's too
That's
far.
too
That's
much.
disgusting.
That is so.
That's my son having sex with my stepdaughter. That's my oldest son having sex with my stepdaughter. That's absolutely fucking disgusting.
Okay, so you've got a real life scenario where that whole thing is fucked then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, real life scenario. That's a bill that was is either being passed or has been passed.
Has passed.
Has passed. Okay, so has passed. Yep, September 11th, 2020.
They
in
actually
California.
passed this.
Yes.
Was this something that they
Buttbacks?
could vote on?
Yeah.
People actually voted on this?
Yep.
No. Didn't it go through their Supreme Court or something?
What?
I don't think it was like a direct thing by the public voted on, was it?
No,
Yeah, no,
it wasn't.
it was.
Yeah, it could
was
not
a,
have
it
been.
was a legislative bill, not a direct vote bill.
So California's, oh dear Lord.
I
Yep.
actually,
Well,
okay.
it's Hollywood. What do you fucking expect? That's like the fucking Babylon of pedophilia. Have
The
you
fucked
read
up
the
thing is,
Have you looked into the
You're
history
not
of
wrong.
fucking Hollywood
You're not-
and Broadway?
You're not wrong, Mike.
I'm sorry. This shit pisses me
No,
off and
I
gets me in
no,
a bad place.
no, I get it, and but still at the same time, it's just I cannot even believe that there were people that were elected to hold these positions that no, I can't even believe the fucking thing was even written.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of things been written over the years that none of us can believe, and that's part of the whole idea. That's part of the Vanguard. That's part of the Boog. Is like, all these things were written that make these things legal that shouldn't be legal, and make these other things illegal that absolutely should be legal.
Oh, I mean, I get that. I get that. I mean, it's funny. I can read a stupid gun law and be like, okay, I don't know. Yeah, gun law doesn't make sense to me, but I can see how someone might think it
So-
would make sense.
I would
All right,
not.
And then
so-
I see something like that, and I'm like, how the hell did that even get written? Much less
Shit
passed.
like this is exactly why I don't believe other people have the capacity to govern other people. Period. I mean, honestly, on a normal level, me governing somebody else, I'm a fucking moron some days. Like, to be honest, I shouldn't be governing other people. Nobody should be governing other people because that's how we get this. That's how it happens. It starts small and it always grows like a festering cancer.
Not
But-
governing, but there should be a structure. There always has to be a structure, or you have total chaos. We're not talking about anarchy.
Mark.
We're talking about
Yes,
chaos.
Mark. Thank you. Actually, someone presented something to me about the whole legal age consent thing, and it actually sounds kind of legit. Okay, so age of consent, once you reach 18, age of consent is half your age plus 7.
Half
If
your
you're
age plus 7.
18, that would be 9 plus 7, which is 16.
That
Huh.
seems fair.
That seems fair, yeah.
If
Well, I
you're-
know, like
if-
in Connecticut, it was over 21 couldn't have sex with anyone under 18, but like anyone between the age of 16
Well-
and 21 could have sex with each other. It's like this weird,
Well-
it's
well-
weirdly
well-
written.
On the
but-
other hand, like I remember a little while back where it was like in certain places it was illegal for underage people to have underage sex with each other, and they were getting in trouble for it. And
Dude,
that's kind of weird.
I got arrested
Yeah, I
when I
mean-
was underage
What are
for
you gonna
giving
go pull his
liquor
dick
to
out? Like,
minors who were also
Putting them in jail
like,
for
what the
it or
fuck?
like fining them is kind of, I mean, like,
You've got the irony of this law, and then California, I know, also has jailed underage boys, but not, as far as I'm aware, underage girls for sending and receiving nudes.
Yeah,
Because
Yes,
you know
yes.
that's
there is a lot
child
of
porn.
sexism
That's
within these
that's
clauses.
child porn. But if it's a boy, it's child pornography. If it's a girl, it's sexual expression. These places
What
are
these kids
so
don't understand
so fucked.
is that once this shit is out there on the internet, it'll never go away. Your electronic home is so fucking important, and like no one understood this to begin with. And like now these kids, they definitely don't understand it, is that like once the shit gets out there, like it's out there and you can't take it back.
It is never
Yeah.
going away.
unless
yeah, and you may be giving it
Zuckerberg
to somebody
touched
your
it.
age now, but somebody 20 years older than you is going to be looking at it tomorrow.
Quite probably, yeah.
Ugh.
No, there's shit on the internet about me
But
that
left
like
anyway.
I can't get rid of. I have an old newspaper article where I had warrants out for me, and I was hiding from the cops, and my daughter's mom turned me in, and we got into an altercation. And that article's in the newspaper. I never hit her. I never fucked her up. But like they alluded to the fact that I may have beat her, and she didn't have a mark on her, and I wouldn't give them my name. I ended up fighting the cops. I didn't fight her. Like I was pissed at her. It's not the first time. She's one of the reasons I got arrested for illegal firearms in Connecticut, because she, my whole life, has been, baby mama drama. Like trying to get custody of my daughters back from me. And the fact is like she's just more fucked up than I ever was. But you know, I can't get it off the internet. I have to, you know, kind of go a darker route and
A
talk
whole
to a
fucking
friend
process.
who can get rid of it, because the newspaper, and I wasn't charged with anything that was domestic, and I wasn't convicted of anything that was domestic. But the media made it sound like it was a
Like you
domestic.
were, yeah.
Yeah. I can't get rid of it. And that's 15, 17 years old.
Damn.
Once it's
That's
out
like
there, it's out there.
Oh,
It's like the
Mhm.
Portland Zoo incident.
It's like the what?
Oh, y'all didn't hear that?
No.
No, you kind of
Um,
cut out.
The talking about things getting eluded, sounding like things got eluded. So a while back, I'm one of the ones that tracks like the Antifa but BLM movements up here. Somehow there's in Portland there's a zoo, and apparently there's a hill next to the zoo, and kids will like rollerblade down the hill, and they call it zoo bombing. Well, during all these, and this was only like a couple weeks ago, and during all these protests and riots and everything, someone had mentioned that they were gonna go zoo bombing or whatever, and one of the journalists
oh God.
No. Oh
was listening,
no.
Oh shit.
was listening,
Hmm.
was in one of their chats or something, had infiltrated a chat or something, and wasn't paying attention, didn't get the whole story, and had caught wind that Antifa and BLM were going to go zoo bombing and get into the zoo and release the animals. So he calls the cops and says, I'm eavesdropping, listening to Antifa and everything, and I think that they're going to go break into the zoo and release all the animals.
Oh my God.
Antifa catches on to Antifa catches on to the half-wit that has done this and is like, you gotta be joking. This guy has bad intel, and he's called the cops, and they think that we're gonna break into the zoo. So they decide that they're gonna run with this. So they get onto Twitter and they go with it, to where the other journalists kind of catch on to this, and they're like, really? They're gonna break into the zoo and release the animals? So everyone's waiting for this to happen, right? Supposedly people have shown up with like horse trailers and stuff, and like ready to like help take these animals and like possibly rehome them or like adopt them until this like takes over. Like
Oh
there's
my
like
God.
stories of like tigers possibly on the
Give me a
loose.
fucking penguin.
Oh my God.
Yes,
I know. I want a
penguins,
penguin
like
too.
people are asking for penguins. But like there's
Oh
like
my
a map.
God.
There's a map of like the whole zoo, and like how the giraffes hate the cops and they'll let you climb up on their necks so you can get a better view and stuff. It goes there's a link. I'll send y'all the link. There's a link of it blew up on Twitter of like it's complete chaos of like how they tried to break in, the cops came and like someone slashed another person's tires, but it was all good because the zebras ran by and gave them rides out of there, and like the kangaroos came by and like it was complete. The kangaroos came by and like blocked the riot cops and everything. It was complete chaos.
Makes me
It
think
was
of
that.
the War of the Ostriches one.
Oh, there's an ostrich one in there too somewhere. It's complete. Yeah, the orangutans were there. It's like
I thought
there's
ostriches were extinct. I
What?
no.
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 thought the ostrich was extinct.
No.
No.
I'm just a
No.
plumber, guys. I just make the shit go downhill.
Here in the state.
Yeah, it's actually a very comical whole Twitter thread. And then it popped up again the other night. There's another like Proud Boys showed up again in like Vancouver or something, and somehow it popped. Someone said it again, and then this one
Damn.
Chuds, there he's like, so like, what are y'all doing here? And they're like, we're actually just waiting to. Someone was messing with him. He's like, yeah, we're just waiting to get word about something that's supposed to go down in the zoo. And he's like, what's going down in the zoo? He's like, yeah, we just heard like Antifa's gonna break in the zoo. He's like, don't they know like they can't release the animals here? They can't.
Zoo bombing, and it all started with zoo bomb. You literally can't say bomb anything anymore. Like, I'll say shit, like me and my wife would be getting on an airplane, and I would say shit like quietly, and she's like, yo, you can't say that. We're in an airport. And I'm like, it's a free fucking country, last I checked. They can fucking take a look at this dick right here. There ain't no bomb anywhere. Dude, she
The,
could,
the foggers. You can't say bomb on an airplane.
you cannot say bomb on an airplane. You can't say gun or knife. You can't say, do not have a gun or ammunition conversation on an airplane with the guy sitting next to you. It is not a fucking good idea.
Well, it's funny though because you have to be careful because there's a couple of journalists up here that Antifa really doesn't like, so they decided to try and discredit them because they're not really known to research very well. So Antifa will they usually will post flyers of where they're going to do their events. And they posted one and they did this very close-up shot of like the park that they were going to do it in. And they're like, yeah, you know, come out tonight at this park at like 7 p.m. and everything. And they hyped it up. And a few people started kind of dropping it. And one of the journalists picked it up and started posting. He's like, yeah, they're supposed to riot tonight. You know, everyone be prepared. Well, anyone that knew the area was like, what in the world? Like, they can't riot there. And, you know, all the other, you know, the other side was like, oh my gosh, Proud Boys were like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Like, they're going to riot. We got to like be prepared and everything. If you know the area, that park was like a 2-foot by 2-foot section in the middle of an intersection.
Nice.
And like, and then someone's like, you're a freaking idiot, and did like a wide view area of the picture. And it's like in the middle of an intersection. And they're like, where are you going to riot? Like,
Well, now,
so
and now we've touched on something totally different, which could probably just be a whole nother segment, is like, so in different parts of the country, you have different attitudes about different groups. Now, I know here in Connecticut, like, we don't really have any Antifa. We have some BLM groups, but like, they're a bunch of Connecticutans, right? It's all a bunch of pussy shit. And like, you know, nobody's doing shit here. Like, it just is what it is, man. We've been totally taken over by the blue.
I'll trade you.
Oh my God. No, like, I would like to fall in the middle somewhere, but it seems like you can only get right or left, or, you know. So at any rate, we don't have really any Antifa. We don't have, like, they exist in New York City, but not really in Connecticut, which is right next door. We're only 2 hours away. And like the attitudes are different. Like, we don't really have much for Proud Boys either. We have Threepers and we have Oath Keepers. You know, we have some.
We have
Proud
Threepers
Boys.
too.
Yeah, everybody has Threepers. Like, they just exist everywhere, which is fine. Like, I don't really have any issue with my Connecticut Threepers because, like, we all kind of think the same shit, right? But like, that attitude doesn't necessarily carry. Now, in some other places, the attitude from the boo groups in those areas with Antifa and BLM is very accepting, and like, groups seem to have communication. Where like here, it's all media driven, and even if like I may not agree with anything I hear about BLM or Antifa, it doesn't mean I don't support their right to believe and protest for whatever they want. Like, it's not, that's not my business. I don't have to support their cause, but I do support their rights, just like anyone else. But that seems to be different all across the country. And just like us, you know, we were called right-wing racists when we are not. We are very left, non-racist, you know, but at any rate.
So the funny thing is about that, I'm glad you brought it up. The Boog movement out here is kind of, it hasn't really caught on. And part of that is one of the founders of Washington 3%, his photo gets used in a lot of the Boogaloo Boy videos and stuff, and he's not a big fan of the Boogaloo Boys. And it's not that he hates them, he just kind of like, I'm not a Boog. He's like, but my photo keeps getting used because it gets used from the Associated Press pictures.
It looks like one.
Yeah.
Tell him to shut up and give him a fucking Hawaiian.
And well, that's the thing. And so they don't really know a lot about the Boogaloo Boys, and what they do know of them, they keep reading it from the media, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're just like a bunch of extremists and everything. I'm like, no, that's not what they are, and they won't even listen to me. And so I'm just like, fine, whatever, y'all think whatever you want.
I mean, I guess freedom is an extremist movement.
I
It
guess
is.
so.
Now,
But the funny thing is, they're considered out here, the Threepers are considered like right-wing extremists out here, which is hilarious. They're considered the white supremacists, the Nazis. Antifa is considered the far left extremist out here. Then you have the Proud Boys who are the Nazis as well, which is kind of funny. They are pretty hateful out here. Though for the most part, the Threepers are pretty quiet out here. But the one, if I can find, there's one video that the Book Boys have posted that the one guy is in. And he's the former leader of Washington 3%. The main parties out here are Proud Boys and Antifa. BLM is kind of separating from Antifa.
Now, how is that different in your area, Galaxy?
Well, Threepers stay there for one thing, but you know, they talk to the opposition, they talk to the fucking police, so that's a no-go for me. Not fucking talking to no
Red
damn
coats.
cop.
Support the crown.
The Black Lives Matter has been relatively almost all peaceful down here. So I mean, everything has been media driven for the most part. Hell, they actually did one somewhat decent fucking article from hearing me talk whenever I was up at one of the events, and they actually fucking put in the article that we were there to defend, protesters against the fucking government. So they end up taking that photo and using it for the fucking the two fuckheads that set up shit with Hamas or whatever.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's all. I think that's bullshit.
Fucking shared it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's some misconstrued bullshit. But we can't prove that necessarily, but we can't.
Well,
Neither can they.
Let me just say something like outright, okay? So, Mr. Galaxy here, he and I have known each other a long time. I've been watching everything he does. Galaxy is the example of an actual peacekeeper.
uh-huh.
I believe it.
Dude, he fucking is. He was in Louisiana with the new Black Panthers, with the BLM, with Threeper orgs present, and with NFAC doing their dumbass shit.
Accidental discharge.
And actually, when the accidental discharge happened, Cruz is the only person that did not duck the fuck down. He was the one shoulder at the carry, looking for where the shot came from. So,
well, that's how we all should be, really. Like I said, in my area, it doesn't necessarily exist. The organizations that exist are more liberty and freedom organizations, and most of the other organizations, they're even like the BLM there's been some protests, but they're all peaceful, and they're not even people that are really part of the BLM. They just organize a march and everyone hops on board because it's the cool thing to do.
And Mark, I watch a lot of what you have going on. You probably don't know how much I do watch. I watch a lot of things in a lot of media and a lot of circles. I know exactly what you got going on, and I like what you're doing, man. I do. I need to hop off because I've got to handle some other things with some group business and stuff.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming on, Mondo.
And I tell you what, it's been a privilege. It's been a good time to talk to you guys. I would like to come on if you guys would agree to this at a later date. I will talk to the cohorts and explain exactly what January 17th is about.
Absolutely. We've been
Yes,
promoting the
absolutely.
17th.
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully next
Yeah,
week
but
we
if you
can
guys
have you
would-
and Galaxy on together to discuss that.
I'd love it if you guys would come on MLTP and do the same thing too.
If as far as my commonplace work schedule goes, if I have free time, I'm willing to talk to you guys anytime you need. All right. And as far as the Vanguard goes, Galaxy does speak for us.
Well, I
He
can
knows
just
what
harass the hell out of him then.
he always knows what the Vanguard is. He's always been in the circles. He knows who we are. And that is entirely legit. Anything that Galaxy says, I stand behind. Just to make sure that's clarified before I bounce out. Like I said,
Thank you so much for talking.
I do have other things that are calling to me. But guys, this has been enjoyable. This has been an excellent discussion.
Stimulating.
It is. I've loved this a lot. And Mark, thank you for the invite. Bobby, it's always good to see you. And Hades, it's actually good to actually digitally meet you finally.
Pleasure is all mine, good sir.
Yes, sir.
Please take
I
care.
do. I have pressing needs pushing me. I do have to bounce. But thank you all for your time. Thank you for the place. And Galaxy, if anyone needs any other questions about the Vanguard, I already know that you know how to answer, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna have to bounce too. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I'm glad to get to meet you.
I'm
Good to
glad
meet you,
to
Bex.
meet you
Thanks
too.
for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's been a
Thanks for
great
joining us,
day.
guys. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Take care.
It's probably about a good time to wrap this whole thing up tonight. It was nice
It
to
gets
get.
so long in the tooth out here.
Yeah, no, for sure. For me, it's
Yeah, we
11:50.
got a little distracted too. That didn't help.
Yeah, we always get distracted, but that's
Yeah, I
part of
think
the
it was
fun.
good distraction, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
I like the idea of I like some of the ideas that came up tonight. We'll talk about that off the show and kind of come back and regroup with it. But to get a better understanding of what the Boog movement is, what the Vanguard is about, that's always important. And we talk to a lot of people, especially you, Mike, with the Mad Liberty Party. You talk to a lot of people that are Boog, non-Boog, and to get all these different opinions and kind of insight into what the movement looks like, and what other movements look like too. So I think anytime we can get these guests to come on is just awesome.
Agreed.
Stimulating, allegedly.
You can show the more faces you can
In
show,
Minecraft.
the more broad it becomes, and people begin to get a better view. And the more shows like we have, we need more shows. More people come out and make their voices, make your shows. If you want to make a show and you don't know how, hit me up. I'll help you.
Make a YouTube.
More
I really like that idea of the boys' backstory.
Yes,
I
that
really-
sounds
yep,
great.
yep.
I think it would be cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's wrap up our show for
Everybody-
the night. I'll kill the recording and we'll talk more about all that. So, hey,
Yeah.
Before
take
we
us
wrap
out.
though,
Oh, go ahead.
as yesterday was Giving Tuesday, I figured a appropriate way to send us off would be to briefly talk about our chosen charities. Mike, you want to start us off?
Well, I like Feed Philly. We just had them on, and those ladies are amazing gals, and they have been doing this for a few years now, and they build care packages for the homeless. It costs about you can go to feedphilly.org to help them out, and it costs maybe $15 to make a whole care package. So if you can give $15 to them, then they can help a single person. Give more and they can help more. And these girls work their butts off. It is an amazing thing. I am so happy to see it, especially since like they come from opposite sides of the table, kind of like, you know, and they're still capable of reaching across the table, putting all that shit away and not caring about it in the face of helping their own humankind.
Awesome.
So, I mean, and if you're in Philly, go help them.
Mike didn't quite mention it, but Feed Philly, PHEED.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's PHEED.
And then Philly.
Yeah, it's
Nope, just to make sure when people look it up, I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, it's like,
Galaxy, you have any? Sorry, didn't realize you weren't.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with them. I was like, yeah, it's just like Philly. You know, Philly starts with a PH. They do that with the feed too.
No, I mean, me personally, I'm just going to be doing local, trying to gather food for the homeless, and that's about it. I don't really have anything to like put out there, so.
Oh, I mean, give a shout out to your local shelters and food kitchens.
As far as like here in Shreveport, I don't really know too many up there, to be honest.
We don't have many either. We have like one shelter in my county, and it's not very large. We have a soup kitchen, but it's been shut down.
Oof.
Of course they're gonna shut it down because COVID. They can't risk
blue fucking. I live in a blue fucking state, man. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, well, the big two that I'm gonna rep is the same ones that I always rep: Grindstone Ministries and Vets for Child Rescue. Especially the Vets for Child Rescue. Same thing, you know. Same thing I'm always going to say. We, especially with the discussion today, we need to fix this shit. And then Grindstone Ministries has a connection with several child rescue organizations. Early this year, we helped rebuild one of the houses for one of these organizations. So, you just gotta... a lot of people get mad about this stuff. So I know a lot of people aren't necessarily capable of helping to rescue these kids, but throw this money that you have or volunteer time with these organizations to get the job done.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to cap anything off?
Do, you know, any little bit anyone can do is
yeah.
Any little bit.
Some people might get ticked off at me for saying so, but throw money at Black Guns Matters. Maj Touré is all over the place, and he is teaching people gun safety. He's
awesome.
He is breaking all of the like the rules of what people believe societally about guns. He's going out there and like, this dude is hardcore. Like, I remember on the second day, he was in the middle of Minneapolis, out in the street, teaching de-escalation in the middle of the riots. This dude is fucking like, give him some money, because he uses those to actually train people, to teach people how to use guns, and to like travel around and continue to do this. So, and that's Black Guns Matters.
I would love to give a shout out to Black Guns Matter any day of the week, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's been, you see it in all the videos, like he's out there trying to make a difference.
Like, I genuinely love talking to him. Like, he's amazing, and he'll take the time to stop and give you advice and shit like that too. So like, just help that dude out. He is constantly working. I'm afraid he's going to work his ass to death.
And he's publicly come together with other groups and spoken with other groups at protests. Publicly said, like, fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And that comes from every community, not just the Black community or the white community.
Yes.
You know, it's the fact that, like, what we need is unity, and he promotes that unity. And that is such a strong message.
Yes, he does. I mean, it ticks people off all the time, but fuck them.
Fuck them. Fuck Connecticut.
Fuck it. I said that the other day, like on the show. I was like, fuck the government and fuck this shit and fuck Connecticut. And I'm like, y'all don't
Fuck
understand what
Connecticut.
that's from, but whatever.
And I'm saying this for a friend. Fuck Connecticut.
Fuck Connecticut.
Yeah, I was like, I was on an F roll there. I had to drop it. It's
Nice.
still stuck in my head.
We're gonna make it a thing. Fuck Connecticut.
We just need to make a T-shirt that just says "fuck Connecticut" and everybody wear it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I need a coffee mug. I broke all my coffee mugs. I should just make one that says "fuck Connecticut" on
Fuck
it.
Connecticut. I think I may just have to go ahead and spend some business money and just get coffee mugs made and sent to PO boxes.
Dude, I need a boot coffee cup.
Everybody fucking send me your PO and I'll fucking set you up shit.
Fuck Connecticut.
Send
Abby,
everybody
how
fucking
about you?
final embossed mugs.
I love Boston. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Fuck Massachusetts too, and fuck New York.
But Abby, do you have any, any charities or any group organizations that you'd like to rep quick for Giving Tuesday?
I don't understand. Is there a specific concept? Because I totally missed
It
out
could
on
be
that.
anything.
No, just any charity that you would
it's
like to endorse.
whatever.
Yeah, it
'cause,
was like
the
feeding
two-
the homeless and then arming the homeless. So like, go do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Is it like any? Because like my two organizations I always stand by is always End the Backlog and Innocence Project. But if it sounds like a lot of you guys were talking like food specific, so I don't want to like.
No,
No,
it's
no,
fine.
no.
Pick whatever you want.
Okay, well, yeah,
Veterans, children, homeless, whatever you rep.
Yeah, and the backlog is very, very important. I mean, even if you just see over the last year, just the stuff coming out about different police departments just having a huge backlog of not just missing, which is just gross, but misplaced. And then there's just not tested, rape kits, which is very, very,
Yeah.
very,
Oh,
very important.
jeez.
I mean, yeah.
Rapists go in the fucking chipper next to the pedos, allegedly.
Yeah, it's
in
really
my
bad.
opinion.
It's really bad.
I mean, they have
Like,
more protection.
didn't they find like a whole fucking?
What were you saying?
I said, didn't they find like a whole like storage area filled with untested rape kits?
In the Minneapolis Police Department, they found 30,000 untested rape kits, or I think it was 3,000 spanning over 30 years or
That's
something, some
fucked.
ridiculous number. And
Yeah, I mean,
LA County just cut their SVU department so they could focus on their drug and gang department, as
Oh,
if they
God.
don't have. And the range that they're like, well, the numbers dropped last year of sexual assaults, and it was only it was maybe 70 case difference. I was like, for us being in quarantine, especially in LA quarantine, and that only being the difference in your cutting budgets.
That's pretty bad.
It's disgusting. It's hella
Because
gross.
drugs are the problem.
Oh yeah.
Drugs and gangs.
I'm about a hop, skip, a jump away from
drugs
Rome,
making money.
Oregon, so.
Hashtag Contra.
Hashtag Contra. Not the video game.
Yeah, not the video game.
Yeah, that, and then if anybody, the Innocence Project, I mean, that's a freaking gigantic black hole you can find your way in and around and down, and then you just find out that just the whole everything is just fucked up. So if you really want to kind of get your foot in the door with it, the Innocence Files on Netflix is very eye-opening and a very gigantic brief overview of something that is very, 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 very important for us to know, acknowledge, and realize that there is so many things ingrained in our system that we need to change. So Innocence Project and the Backlog are two that I'm really invested in.
All right.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. We should make a list of these and put them in the description. The
Yeah,
links.
we should. Make
Yeah.
like a little. I love what Axios does. He has
Those
that.
little things.
Has the
That
banner.
little
Yeah.
billboard running across the screen. We could do something like that for sure. That too. And look, the guy from Guns
Yeah.
and Gadgets. If you're in the Northeast, watch the guy from Guns and Gadgets. He is all over it. I'm hoping to get a piece of his time. And
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
he's from
is he from Massachusetts or Connecticut? I keep forgetting.
I think
I know
he's
it's one of the two.
I
Big
think he's from
picture,
Southern Mass. He's like close to Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to talk to him about repping the Boog. And
he already
you know,
does.
kinda
He already has.
oh,
He
I didn't
has.
know that. I didn't catch that.
Yes. Oh,
I'll be
dude, I've been
damned.
watching.
I missed that episode.
Yeah, dude, go back like 3 or 4 months. He talks about the Boogaloo, and he's like, "Oh, dude, they're just freedom-loving fucking Americans." I'm like, "Oh, dude, he fucking supports us." Holy
Yes.
shit.
Yes.
Hell
Well,
yeah!
let's see if we
I'm gonna
can't
get in
us an
contact with
interview.
him.
Yeah, we'll see if we
Yes.
can't get us an interview.
I fucking love that
Yep.
dude.
All right, let's wrap it up, Hades.
All right, motherfuckers. Stay armed, stay free, and stay fucking frosty. Good night.
Laters.
Don't take any wooden nickels.